Don't watch Dave
Don't
Ramsey.
watch Dave Ramsey, dude.
It really never teaches people how to make money, how to invest.
I do think older generations have a tendency to look at younger people and be like, oh, those crazy kids.
It's time for someone younger and more fresh to come in the scenes and give new, fresh advice.
So every time Dave Ramsey's name comes up nowadays, it turns into a whole debate. And it's honestly been like that for a while. Half the people are saying that he changed their life. The other half is saying that the man is stuck in 1995. Saying his advice is outdated, unrealistic. Nobody can actually live like that anymore. Now, I've been through Financial Peace University multiple times. And if there's one thing I know about Dave, he has no interest in making you rich fast. He wants to make sure that you don't end up broke. See, his whole thing is about avoiding risk, avoiding collapse, and building wealth the safest way possible. And if we can be real, that's what most people need. So today we're gonna watch some clips and see what people are saying, and I'll just give my honest feedback on it.
I've had people who did the Dave Ramsey method, saved up $1,000, an emergency happened. All emergencies tend to be above $1,000. Then they ended up in a worse situation than they were before they even saved that $1,000. I like either just a 1 month emergency fund, maybe if you have kids, a 2 month emergency fund before you pay off your debt. That way you can cover pretty much most emergencies in that case. So the $1,000 one is kind of rough.
I do understand what Caleb is saying here, where taking some time to build up that savings first before you jump into debt can just give you a little more of a safety net. And I don't think that's wrong advice. Again, the whole thing of Dave's way is wrong, Caleb's way is wrong, it's all foolish. It's not a right or wrong. It's I could do this, I could take some of this advice, I could take some of this advice. When you're trying to save up that 1 month, people are already struggling to do so. And a lot of people are underneath the weight of their debt. It's trying to get people out of the monthly payments that people are constantly making. So that way, those monthly payments that were going towards debt can go towards building up the emergency fund. It's kind of like trying to train up people to get into a mindset of financial responsibility. I mean, it's fair to say that Dave Ramsey keeps his lessons at a kindergarten level. He tries to have actionable steps that people can take to make them feel like they are moving towards something. When you first say that $500, that $1,000, it makes you feel like you did something. If a tire blows, or you have an unexpected bill come up, or you just need to purchase something in the meantime, then the $1,000 cover it. And the point is to get your mind out of using debt to cover those things. You gotta understand, people that are going into Financial Peace University or Dave Ramsey's program are not confident with money. They don't have any financial literacy at the moment in time. If you've never had $1,000 in the bank account, then $1,000 can seem overwhelming to people. So when you telling them, hey, you need to save up $3,000 or $6,000 for a 2 to 3 month or a 1 to 2 month emergency fund, that could be overwhelming for people. Yes, $1,000 won't cover everything, and it's not meant to. And Dave knows $1,000 won't cover every emergency expense. There is no right or wrong. It is what works best for you in your current circumstance.
You know, for all the crap that Dave Ramsey gets, and he gets a lot, there's a lot of people that don't like him, that don't agree with him. I think he has, at a minimum, at least one thing right, that debt is bad. Like, it's really bad. In fact, I would go so far as to say it is the #1 problem facing individuals, as well as the #1 problem facing the country.
Yes, majority of debt sucks. Majority of debt and how it's used is bad for you. It is easier to say all debt is bad, stop using it, than to say, okay, if you're using debt and go and buy this property and do, that is too complicated and it increases risk. Dave does not want to increase risk. He wants to get you to well off in the safest way possible. If you follow Dave's plan to the T, you will reach well off very safely. It will take a long time. It will take a long time. You will be old by that time, but you will be old and well off. He's not trying to get you well off in your 30s or 40s. He says, I am trying to build you wealth so that way when you retire, you can look in your retirement account and see $1 million there and not zero or nothing.
Now, Dave is 64 years old, and his methodology cannot be used anymore. It's time for someone younger and more fresh to come in the scenes and give new, fresh advice, because that old advice does not work for us anymore. It does not work for millennials. It does not work for Gen Z. It only works for boomers. And let me tell you why. See, Dave wants you to pay everything off if you have money to do so.
People, if you follow Dave Ramsey's plan, you have a higher chance of being successful than if you follow the new trends that are happening. But even do Dave Ramsey's plan as a backup plan and to still take some risk, because risk is good. Dave Ramsey's plan is risk averse. There is very little risk. The riskiest thing in Dave Ramsey's plan is the investment portion of the Roth IRA. Investments can go up and down. You're going to have some level of success by following Dave Ramsey's plan.
These are 3 things I do that would piss Dave Ramsey off as someone who has a degree in financial planning. First, I don't budget every single dollar. I refuse to live life in a spreadsheet. I know exactly what our take-home income is, my wife and I's, what our fixed costs are, the percentage that we're going to invest, the percentage that we're going to save. And then everything that's left over after that, we spend on whatever we want.
Different budgeting methods work for different people. Some people need a flexible budget where all of their bills are paid, all of this stuff is taken care of where they need to survive, and then everything else can ebb and flow. And they just look at one number. If that one number starts getting low, they start slowing down their spending. Some people mind work better like that. My mind, I prefer to have fixed things to certain things and for it to ebb and flow in others. Like for my groceries, I prefer to have my groceries set to a certain amount. Gas, I don't set my gas to a certain amount because gas ebbs and flow too much. Why would I set a certain amount to gas? I'm not intentionally going out, oh, I can't wait to spend gas money. But groceries, I need control over groceries because it's easy to go out and just spend money on groceries. So yeah, of course. I mean, if that works for him, great. But that doesn't mean zero-based budgeting isn't good. It isn't for certain people. Analytical people would love that. Some people love spreadsheets. He doesn't. Okay, he adjusted his budgeting method.
Second, I use credit cards for every single purchase. I don't use a debit card because it's more susceptible to theft. If someone gets your debit card, you can't dispute any of the charges. You get a lot more protection when it comes to credit cards and the banks that you use. In addition to that, I use credit cards because I get points. You have the ability to pay it off every month, then you're just getting all the rewards back.
A debit card has access to your money. A credit card accesses the bank's money. I would prefer to give that risk of fraudulent activity on my cards to the bank. So I use my credit cards for every single purchase just like him. Dave Ramsey method is cash is king. Use cash for everything. Don't use your credit card. Only use your debit card. For some people that works. For some people, they cannot use a credit card because they do not understand you only buy things that you know you can buy with a debit card. Some people do not have that level of discipline, so they can't have it. They don't need it. They don't need to have a credit card because they don't have the responsibility yet to be able to manage that credit card effectively and to have the credit card actually work for them.
The third and final thing is I'm not prioritizing paying down my house. Every extra dollar that we have, we don't really put it towards an extra payment. We're actually putting that in our brokerage account and investing that. It's great to have your house paid off. I really just don't want all of that cash tied up in equity into my home, which could be really hard to get out when you need it.
Again, that's great for him. That is his preference. Does that mean paying off your house is wrong? No. Does that mean paying off your house early is wrong? No. It doesn't have to be a or. It can be an and. I think you could pay more money on your mortgage and put more money in your brokerage account. I don't think it has to be well, I'm gonna put everything in my brokerage account and I'm just gonna let my mortgage just fly. Or you don't also have to put everything in your mortgage and just let your brokerage account just sit over there collecting dust. I put money in this and I put money towards paying off my debt. You could do both. If you have the money to be able to do that, do both. And that way you're getting the best of both worlds. You're putting equity into your home and you get to build up your brokerage account at the same time. It's a dance that you do with your finances. Whatever works for you, whatever is your preference, whatever fits within your lifestyle, that's what you do. It is not one method that fits everybody. Look at your life. You have to take it out of your life and see, okay, what would work best for me?
You know who I used to watch a lot and I still kind of watch sometimes is Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey.
Don't watch Dave
Don't
Ramsey.
watch Dave Ramsey, dude.
Dave Ramsey is
If
1980s
David Ramsey
economics.
watched our show, he would literally try to fry us. These kids are buying cars. No, dude, screw Dave Ramsey, dude.
I think he has good like etiquette for the normal person for sure. Like just follow these rules and you'll be successful, right? Successful, quote unquote. Like
His rules are for normal people who are just have a job, trying to do their thing.
It's low-key boomer rules too, to be honest with you. The boomer concepts.
Yeah.
We just, again,
Even for the normal people, his rules don't even work anymore because of
exactly
the income to house ratio. These
Think
days.
about the way the world works and the internet and the way money works. Like, we've seen kids turn $7 into 45 million on leverage trading. Like,
Dave Ramsey wants to make sure that you are financially well off. And in order to do that, he creates a simple plan that if you follow it to a T, you will be financially well off. This advice, who is listening to this who has a family of 4 and wants to retire to make sure that they are not leaving their kids with nothing? It's simple. Like, let's truly break down what Dave is telling you to do. He's telling you to pay off all your debt, get a fully funded emergency fund in case anything comes up, you don't have to rely on debt to protect yourself, invest, save up for a kid's college fund if you need to, pay off your home, and then be generous with the remaining money. Who looks at that and says, no, that's bad advice? How is that bad advice? That makes complete sense.
Let me tell you 3 principles that Dave Ramsey teaches that I cannot stand. The first principle is that you should pay off your mortgage. Not everyone should pay off their mortgage.
Paying off your home. Again, if it's not for you, don't do it. It's a principle that, if followed, will have joy afterwards. If you're not paying $1,400, $2,000, $3,000 a month on a mortgage, that's $1,400, $2,000, $3,000 back in your pocket to go towards investments, to go towards enjoying your life, vacations, all that other stuff. That is what he's trying to get you to. Not only do you have an asset in your home, but you're also able to enjoy the money that you're making. That is all that he's saying.
Second principle is saving money to go pay cash for a car or another depreciating asset. Imagine that you saved up $50,000 to pay cash for a car. You drive it off the lot and it's worth $35,000 right after you drive it off the lot. I just can't get behind that. The third thing is he really never teaches people how to make money, how to invest.
Dave Ramsey is about the old-fashioned way of having a job, having a 9-to-5. What he is for is the layman person. What does the layman person do? The layman person works a 9-to-5, maybe went to college, is a nurse, engineer, is a mechanic, and they come home after a long day of work, making good money, and now they need to know what to do with that money. That is what they're for. He's not here to try to teach you how to make money. That's not what he's for. He tells you that, but that's not what he's for, and he doesn't sell it as if that is what he's trying to do.
Y'all keep letting Dave Ramsey and them tell y'all to save all that money that you probably ain't gonna end up being able to spend because you have some pre-existing condition that you never went and got yourself checked out on because you don't go to the doctor and you don't do everything to keep yourself healthy enough to live long enough to even see that money. Okay. That it's very foolish to continue thinking that the old way is going to get you exactly where you want to be in the current state and society that we are right now. Taking out $100,000 from my 401k in usable money to pay off everything with like $80,000 of it and still have $15,000 to float yourself while you're building a business. It's not foolish because I literally have everything else paid off. I took out enough to pay the taxes on what I wanted to physically use. So I already have the tax money just sitting over there. I told them to keep that. So I don't have to even worry about that part of it. All I have to do is worry about building my business right now.
If you break down what Dave is telling you to do, he is telling you to get out of debt, save an emergency fund, invest, save up for your kids' college fund, pay off your mortgage, live life and give. If you have a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. I can't figure out what is safer to tell people than to get out of debt, save, invest, and live and enjoy life. I don't get it. Not everyone is willing to take risks. Most people don't even have the mindset to go out there and take risks like that and be successful in taking risks.
When it comes to Dave Ramsey or anybody else, you have to understand what their brand is. Because so many times in order for someone like Dave Ramsey to become the brand that he is, you can't really do that by providing a lot of nuance around things.
Right.
You kind of have to provide black and white guardrails.
They have to give generic advice because they don't know who is listening or watching.
You don't know who is listening and you don't know who is watching. That is why it is so simplified. If a person goes through the entire Dave Ramsey plan They have no mortgage payment. They started their investments. They have no other debts. Their kids' college fund is being funded, and they have a full emergency fund. Who looks at that person and says they're not successful? If you can be content in the life that you have, which is what Dave is basically selling to you, you are richer than any of these people out here trying to sell you these courses on how to get rich.
For years, almost 15 years now, helping you get out of debt, build real wealth, and take control of your life. And for a long time, I've stood 10 toes down on this one message. Cut up your credit cards, no debt, and do not care about a credit score, period. But today I got to be real with you. My mind has shifted. You all know me from my days working with the guru, the general himself, Dave Ramsey, and that amazing team over there. And do not get it twisted from the very beginning. I am not switching sides. I still believe that we should be consumer debt free, and that being in debt can be a dangerous trap for our future. So do not get it twisted. This is not Anthony saying, oh my gosh, he done went over to the right. Now he is, no. I'm not. But where I have changed, what I have learned, where I have kind of evolved in today's world, that operating with no credit history at all can be just as limiting. If your credit is invincible, meaning you have no credit history, because what I've taught before is that you should have a 0 credit score. Well, in today's day and time, in 2025, you could end up paying for more, not for more. You could end up paying more for the things like housing, insurance, and even some job opportunities. And that's the truth. A 0 credit score doesn't make you necessarily safe, right? It can make you expensive to lenders when it comes to getting a mortgage, and to landlords. Because if you have a 0 credit score, if you have nothing there, then for some odd reason in today's day and time, it is confusing to me that you are penalized for having a 0 credit score, which means you have no debt, but you will still have to pay the highest interest. All of this is a game. All of it is a game, and we got to learn how to start playing it.
There is a way for you to have credit in a safe manner without you being in debt, but it requires discipline. Closing your credit card account and cutting up your cards are 2 different things. If you know you have a problem, cut your credit cards up. Like your Capital One card, Apple Pay, or Apple Card and stuff like that. You can discard those cards and still have the account be active. You're just now not actively spending on the credit card. That's fine, but going to close all your credit card accounts, paying off all your loans, and letting that sit for a few months, it will get rid of your credit score. And people will not be able to see your history. And that's a problem.
So anytime I mention Dave Ramsey's name, people actually lose their crap and come for my throat. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why his advice is so controversial, because it's essentially living within your means and just living off of less than you make. And to me, that's pretty common sense, but I don't understand why people have such a problem with him. And honestly, I feel like, especially with social media, the majority of the time, the same people who are bashing him are the same people who are complaining about how much debt they're in and how they don't get paid enough and all of these other things, how basically everything is working against them and how everyone else is the problem except themselves and their own life choices, So anyways, I just don't get it. I love Dave Ramsey. I've been a Dave Ramsey follower for years. We are working our way out of debt using his plan. My family members have used his plan for years, and I don't personally get it. I know that everyone's money's different, everyone's views are different, all the things, get that, respect that, love that, but I just don't understand how living off of less than you make can be such a controversial topic.
I think what it is, and this will be my final thoughts on it. I think what happens is people are offended by what Dave says. Everything seems so unrealistic. We're in a horrible economy. His advice seems unrealistic. $1,000 won't do anything, which we already talked about the purpose of the 1,000. Getting out of debt, it's like, I would prefer to do anything else. I prefer to go and use this money to go and make more money when you have overwhelming debt. And I think people are just offended at it. Everything he says is not for everyone, and it can be modified, but for the layman, following his advice to the T will yield a level of financial success. If you feel a disconnect between what Dave has to offer when it comes to wealth building, find someone else. Use him for what you need to use him for, and then go somewhere else that works for you better. Just because there's bits and pieces of Dave Ramsey that you don't agree with doesn't mean that he's not effective. Find out what works best for you and yours, and stop looking at what social media is telling you should have, and start figuring out what would actually make you successful to you. Don't chase what's out here. I still would encourage people who are getting into financial literacy and are brand new. I would 100% recommend Dave to them, because his stuff is simple, easy to follow, and has a very high chance of making you financially successful. Maybe not soon, maybe not super fast, but he will align you and start getting those emotions and that discipline running. So that way in the future, when you do move away from the Dave Ramsey season and need to find someone else to start building that wealth, that you'll have the mental fortitude to be able to do that.